Here's some stocks to buy for the trading week of September 14th that could go up quite a bit. So first I'm going to talk about the stocks that I talked about last week and if they're still good buys this week and how much they all went up or down by. So the first stock that I talked about last week was ticker symbol SPAQ. So SPAQ, they did pretty good this week. They went up like 10 something percent, maybe more. And I still think this is still a good buy because it could easily go to $20, maybe $25, and maybe on the high end like $30 before the merger, which is in mid-October, with Fisker, which is, like I mentioned, an electric car company. So since their merger is in mid-October, they may have some more pullbacks, and add-in under 15 is pretty good, and if it dips even more, then I would also add there. So there may be a couple more dips, but they should continue to run up ahead of their merger. The second stock that I talked about was ticker symbol ETON, and ETON, they didn't run up too much, maybe like 5-10% or something like that. And ETON I still think is a good buy on Monday. The reason for this is because their FDA approval news should be announced Monday pre-market, and this could be a really good buy. And the reason for this is because if there's a disapproval, the stock should go down a lot, and if it does go down a lot, then you could buy the dip. And the reason this play is really good to buy the dip is because they have another FDA approval on September 29th. So that means that the stock will dip a lot, and then you could look at the RSI by the dip, and then there should be a recovery in the next couple of weeks up until their September 29th FDA approval date. So you could easily get potentially up to a 20% gain if there is a disapproval, since you just buy the dip, and then they'll slowly recover up until their second FDA approval date. So the third stock that I talked about last week was ticker symbol SHLL. So SHLL, they ran up to like $54, something like that, so like a 10% gain maybe, and then they dipped below 50, and I still think they could go to $60. The reason for this is because, like I said, they have a merger with ETON, which makes electric trucks. And on Monday, we got an exact date of when the merger is, so September 28th. So they should run up pretty nicely this week and then next week ahead of their September 28th merger with ETON. And I think they could maybe go a bit more than 60 after their merger is done. So now I'm going to be talking about some stocks by this week. So the first stock is ticker symbol MNK. So MNK, they have their FDA approval on September 12th. So the news should be announced of whether their approval is positive or negative on Monday pre-market. So the way you can trade MNK is, what you can do is you can again do the same thing with ETON, is just buy the dip if the news is negative, and then get a small 5-10% recovery, because that will most likely happen. So it's just something to look out for on Monday. The next stock that I'm going to be talking about is ticker symbol TSLA, so Tesla. Tesla has battery day on September 22nd. And according to Elon Musk, there's apparently some exciting things that will be announced. And since they've dipped quite a bit since their high of 500, I think they could potentially run up to maybe 400 ahead of battery day, and maybe even more. And maybe on battery day they should run up pretty nicely, because I feel like there will be a lot of hype around Tesla and people will start to buy in, since people look for any reason to be bullish about the stock, and the stock price should get driven up pretty nicely. So like I said, probably up to $400. And the last stock I'm going to be talking about is ticker symbol PLM. So PLM, they should also run up from Tesla's battery day. And since I don't usually talk about high caps, I'm going to include PLM. So if you can't afford to buy Tesla, then you can also trade PLM, since it's a penny stock. So the reason PLM will run up from Tesla going up and from Tesla's battery day is because Glencore owns a 72% stake in PLM, and Glencore signed a long-term cobalt deal with Tesla. So there's a lot of speculation that PLM will eventually get involved and that their Minnesota mine will produce cobalt. So if Tesla announces anything related to cobalt, PLM should also run up pretty nicely, since obviously Tesla needs cobalt for their batteries. And this speculation should drive up PLM's price as they get closer to battery day. And maybe on battery day they may have a pretty big spike. So those are some stocks buy for trading week of September 14th. And if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing, and thanks for watching.